Hi, my name is Rebecca Frazier, and I'm going to be doing a persuasive speech for you today on the topic of welfare and how is welfare actually fair. Welfare was established to help people in need. This includes helping people who are unemployed, have low income that qualifies, or other people that just need assistance. Most of the money that contributes to the welfare are resources that come from the government agency or other programs. Welfare actually began in the 1930s during the Great Depression. Millions of people were thrown out of their jobs and left with no home and no other options. High numbers of fathers actually left their families and fled elsewhere, and then left their families to survive by their own means. Before the Great Depression, community charities helped the poor and needy, but the downfall of the economy hit everyone hard, and the people that helped the poor now had to achieve their own survival. Schools began to close, families were left homeless, wandering the streets. The elderly suffered because they had no money to live on. Franklin D. Roosevelt rushed to create more jobs. He also began to back an idea that would give aid to the poor and children and other dependent people. In FDR's State of the Union address, he included that he planned on creating an age insurance program, federal unemployment, and benefits for dependent people and poor single mothers with children. Welfare finally became federal responsibility under the Social Security Act on August 18, 1935. This act made it so that the states had to contribute 1/3 of the federal government gave to the needy, dependent children, as well as old people, crippled children, and the needy blind. States had the power to write the program's eligibility and benefit level. This did not create equality at first and did not help all the people of the system that truly needed it. Over the years, strong resentment grew as welfare system funding grew larger and the federal expenditure. The program that upset people the most was Aid to Families with Dependent Children, or AFDC, because the average working person was upset that an able-bodied citizen lived off the federal system they had paid into. In 1996, President Bill Clinton returned most of the welfare system responsibility to the state's power. In August 1996, President Clinton signed the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Act. Under this act, the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, or TANF, was to replace the unfavorable Aid to Families with Dependent Children, and to switch welfare programs out of federal power and into states' power. The government was now only federally fund the food stamps program and HUD housing programs. The federal government had the rules in which the state was to base the information of their program around. Adults receiving family cash aid benefits must go to work within 2 years. States may exempt a parent with a child under 1 for no more than 12 months. States had to have 25% of their welfare caseloads at work in 1997 and 50% of their caseloads at work by 2002. States who fail to meet these requirements will lose 5% of their federal block grants. Each child is limited to no more than 5 years of cash assistance during his or her lifetime, but states may exempt up to 20% of their caseloads from this limit. The act created hardship for families that needed welfare because funds and aid that had been going to the families were reduced greatly. Also, most legal immigrants entering the country were now excluded in receiving any of the welfare funds, including food stamps, Medicaid, and cash welfare, until they lived in the United States for 2 to 4 years. This welfare program is to help needy families and provide them with cash assistance and with other needs they need in order to maintain survival. 90% of the participants are women, mainly single mothers like myself. Eligibility is determined by the providing state, which sets up how the program followed by federal regulations. TANF is a block grant, which requires work in exchange for a third-time limited assistance. Block grants are lump sum funds allocated to states by federal government. Under TANF, 50% of the participants are required to do 30-hour work activities, which include community service, on-the-job training, subsidized or unsubsidized employment, or in a vocational center if available in the area. People who have not received their diploma are allowed to spend time working for their GED. Also, an additional 10 hours can be spent in work-related or educational-related activities. Under the universal engagement, all participants must be involved in a work-related activity after 2 years of assistance. TANF has a 5-year assistance limit. People receiving aid in most cases. Some states no longer have terms to provide the care, while 2-state limit has no power providing assistance to the needy. Exemptions to this rule are offered to people who have disabilities, victims of domestic violence, taking care of young children, or in a community with high unemployment rates. These are just some of the facts of what welfare actually provides to you. In my opinion, being on welfare myself, I know it does frustrate a lot of people, me being an able-bodied mother, but they also don't see how much it takes to take care of a child by yourself as a single parent with no one there to assist you for babysitting so that you can go to work. My daughter is soon to be a year old this month. She has not been in daycare because most of the jobs that have been offered to me have crazy shifts such as 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. or 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. And you tell me what kind of daycare is going to allow you to keep your daughter there for 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day from those time periods. It's very difficult when you are struggling and you're trying, and you're really trying, as I am now, to better myself so that I could give my daughter a better life and the life that she deserves. Welfare, I believe, should be there for those who need it, not for those who abuse it. There is a big difference in people that need it and those that abuse it. With the new state regulations that are attempting to be passed in Congress right now of the drug tests, I am for that, because if I have to work at a job and have a drug test in order to get my paycheck and in order to work for a company, then I believe that it's only fair that the great people of this nation and of this state that's putting their money into these programs, as I have for many years, that, you know, when they do need help, that the people that do need help to have to go and have a drug test administered, because there's no sense in them doing drugs and, you know, wasting all their money on cigarettes or alcohol or other ununiform drugs. I believe that there are some issues that do need to be fixed with our welfare system, such as Medicaid only pays for so much. It doesn't pay for dental care anymore. Medicare doesn't pay for pain-related assistance to the elderly. And as you get older, you tend to hurt more. There are a lot of broken parts with our system, but there are a lot of good things for our system, and I'm grateful that we do have welfare in this country to help me, because without it, I don't know where I would be, or for, you know, better, I don't know where me and my daughter would be right now, and I am greatly appreciative of it. So welfare is a good thing when used correctly, and when it's given the correct assistance programs. But welfare can be a bad thing when it comes to people exploiting it, as I've seen in the past. You know, someone with 4 children does not need $1,250 worth of food stamps when all they're doing is selling it and the children are still going hungry. There's a lot of things that we do need to do differently, but I am grateful for welfare, and I do believe that it is a good thing that we have welfare. And so in conclusion, I'm appreciative of it, as I've already stated. There are a lot of people on it in this day and age as well, since we've been in the recession, and it really hasn't gotten any better with the jobs. Welfare is a good thing, and I believe that we should honestly still keep welfare.